All right, so we're diving into this book, The Richest Man in Babylon.
By George Clason.
Right, George Clason. Thanks for
Yeah.
keeping me on track there. And you found 3 really different reviews of it,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. A mom blogger, someone writing for, like, millennial women about finance,
Yep.
and then, like, this big personal finance website. So we're trying to figure out if this Babylonian wisdom
Right.
still works today.
It's so interesting how this book is almost 100 years old and it's still considered a classic.
Wow.
All 3 of the reviews we have refer to it as like a modern classic. It's sold millions and millions of copies. It's clearly still relevant today.
So I guess the question is it just timeless wisdom, or is it just kind of outdated fluff?
Yeah.
You know?
I think the success of this book is really because it uses these parables
Oh, okay.
and stories to kind of illustrate the financial principles.
So it's not like a straight up how-to book.
No, not at all. It's
Not.
more like Aesop's fables, but for money. I like that.
But, that review from Way did mention that some people find the language a little outdated, especially when it comes to women and slavery.
Yeah, for sure. Some of those attitudes definitely haven't aged well.
Right.
But all the reviewers did say there's a lot to learn, especially if you're new to managing your money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're learning to cook,
Okay.
you might start with a really simple recipe.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the most exciting dish.
Yeah.
This book is kind of like that.
Okay.
Like that basic recipe for personal finance.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about those fundamentals. It lays out these 7 things that it calls cures for a lean purse,
Yeah.
which basically seem to be like how to get your finances in order and get
Yeah.
out of debt and stuff. And our mommy blogger, Tramilla, seemed really happy that it's not all about hoarding money, but about living a full life.
Yeah, that's a good point. Financial well-being isn't about deprivation.
It's about having enough resources to live a life that you enjoy.
Exactly, yeah. And I think one of the most famous pieces of advice from the book is this idea of paying yourself first.
Yes.
Both mommyhood and ministry and my money blog mentioned it,
Yeah.
which is basically you should be saving at least 10% of your income no matter what.
Yeah. They both stress the importance of saving consistently, at least 10% of what you make.
Okay, but is that even realistic nowadays?
Yeah.
Like, rent is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Student loans are a nightmare, and wages just haven't kept up.
Yeah.
Like, where are people supposed to find this extra 10%?
I see what you mean. And you're right. The book was written in a different time.
Yeah.
But remember that 10% is a guideline, not like a strict rule. It's more about getting into the habit of saving,
Okay.
even if you have to start with a little bit less.
Okay, that makes sense. There was a commenter on that my money blog that mentioned that the book doesn't say whether that 10% should be pre-tax or post-tax.
Right. Right.
And they thought post-tax might make more sense today.
It's interesting how different readers interpret and apply the ideas.
Yeah.
I think the key is to figure out what works for you
Okay.
and then just be consistent.
So it's about making saving a priority,
Yeah,
even if it's just like a few bucks every week.
exactly. And that goes hand in hand with another important principle from the book, controlling your expenditures.
Okay.
Both the book and that I Will Teach You to Be Rich website
Mm-hmm.
really stress how important it is to understand the difference between needs and wants.
So basically, knowing where your money's going
Yeah,
and making good decisions about spending.
exactly. The I Will Teach You to Be Rich excerpt actually has this story about a couple named Alex and Courtney.
Okay.
They had over $45,000 in assets,
Okay.
which is pretty good, right?
That's not bad. Yeah.
But they were constantly fighting about money because they weren't managing their spending well.
So even if you have money,
Yeah.
if you're not like on top of your spending,
Yeah.
it can still be stressful.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that building wealth is not just about how much you earn.
Right.
It's about how you manage what you have.
I see. Okay, so we've talked about paying yourself first and controlling your spending. What's the next step on this path to riches?
Well, the book talks about making your gold multiply,
Okay.
and it really focuses on the power of compound interest. The Itemony review even specifically mentioned compound interest
Oh.
as like a back to basics thing that millennials need. It's kind of like a snowball effect for your money,
Yeah.
where like your investments earn interest,
Yeah.
and then that interest earns interest, and it just keeps growing.
Okay. But isn't investing like Super complicated?
It can be. There's all this jargon. Stocks go up and down. It
Yeah.
feels like you need like a finance degree to even understand it.
Yeah.
But that I Will Teach You to Be Rich article
Yeah.
simplifies it.
Okay.
They talk about low-cost index funds.
What are those?
So imagine like a basket of different
Yeah.
stocks that represent a certain part of the market.
Okay.
So instead of picking individual stocks, which can be risky, you invest in this diversified portfolio.
Oh, okay.
That just tracks how the market is doing overall.
So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Okay.
And because these index funds are passively managed,
Yeah.
the fees are usually a lot lower.
Okay.
You don't have a bunch of expensive analysts picking stocks.
Right. So lower fees are good.
Always.
Yeah. But even with these index funds, there's still like a million to choose from. How do you even know which ones to pick?
Well, you definitely have to do your research, but you should look for funds that track broad market indexes,
Okay.
like the S&P 500 or the total stock market index. Those give you a good base for a diversified portfolio.
Okay, so start with these index funds, spread out your investments.
Yep.
And then let compound interest just like do its thing over time.
Exactly.
Okay, that actually doesn't sound that intimidating.
It's really not as complicated as it seems.
Yeah. You know, I remember Tramilla, that mom blogger we talked about.
Yeah.
She was really hesitant about owning a home,
Yeah.
but she said that this book and another book she was reading, Money is the Answer for Everything, really changed her mind. She decided to go for it
Yeah.
and make her home a profitable investment.
That's the fourth cure for a lean purse,
Yeah.
to make your dwelling a profitable investment. But the I Will Teach You to Be Rich website
Yeah.
sort of complicates this a little bit.
How so?
They say renting versus buying isn't like a simple yes or no question.
Oh, okay.
It really depends on where you live, your finances, your goals,
Yeah.
your lifestyle, all
Yeah.
of that. They recommend really looking at the numbers
Okay.
and figuring out all the costs of home ownership, not just the mortgage.
So it might be a great deal for one person, but a total financial disaster for someone else?
Exactly. They even suggest thinking about alternatives like house hacking.
House hacking. Is that like some kind of elaborate Halloween decorating?
No. It basically means renting out part of your home to cover your mortgage.
So you're living in your investment
Yeah.
and making money off of it.
Exactly. It's a pretty smart way to do it, especially in a crazy housing market like this.
Yeah, I like that. So it's all about like making those old ideas work in today's world.
Right. And while making your money grow is super important,
Mm-hmm.
the book also says you got to guard your treasures from loss.
Okay.
That H-Money review really emphasized that one too, especially for millennials. There's so many like get-rich-quick schemes out there,
yeah.
especially online,
Yeah.
that it's tempting to fall for them.
Yeah.
But this book is all about slow and steady growth, like building a strong foundation.
Okay, so be careful, do your research,
Right.
and don't believe anything that sounds too good to be true.
Exactly. And remember Arlie from the I Will Teach You to Be Rich article?
No, remind me.
She quit her job
Oh, yeah.
to do one of those multi-level marketing things.
Oh, yeah.
And her income totally tanked. It's a cautionary tale, like a warning against chasing those shiny objects.
It's a good reminder that real wealth is built on solid principles.
Yeah.
Not shortcuts. Speaking of solid principles, does the book talk about planning for the future at all?
It definitely does. Both the book and the website talk about how important it is to ensure future income.
So thinking about retirement,
Yeah,
disability insurance, stuff like that?
exactly. The I Will Teach You to Be Rich excerpt even suggests maxing out any employer contributions
Okay.
to retirement accounts
Mm-hmm.
and looking into passive income streams.
Oh, passive income. That's where you're making money without actively working, right?
You got it. Like rental income, dividends from investments, things like that.
So you're basically diversifying your income just like you would diversify your investments.
Yeah, so
Okay. So that's 6 out of the 7 cures we've talked about. What's the last one?
the seventh cure is increase thy ability to earn. And this really connects with that. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Focus on personal development and career growth.
Okay.
It's all about investing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
developing valuable skills, finding ways to move forward in your career.
So it's not just about managing your money.
Right.
It's about managing your career and your potential.
Exactly. It's a reminder that financial success isn't just about luck.
Yeah.
It's about creating your own opportunities.
And it seems like all these 7 cures aren't just about managing money. They're about having the right mindset for growth and abundance.
Exactly. This book isn't just about the mechanics of money. It's about building a fulfilling and prosperous life.
I like that. Now, before we jump into part 2 of our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon, let's take a moment to reflect. What's resonated with you so far?
What really stands out to me is how these principles are presented through these ancient stories. But they're still so applicable to our lives today. The ideas of saving consistently, controlling spending, making your money work for you.
Those haven't gone out of style at all.
They're like timeless truths about building wealth.
Exactly. And the book's emphasis on personal development, on increasing thy ability to earn, that adds another layer to it all.
Yeah.
It reminds us that financial success isn't just about luck or circumstances.
Right.
It's about making things happen for yourself.
It's about taking control of your own financial well-being.
Right. So as we head into part 2, let's see how these principles can actually be applied in our modern world. How can we navigate our complicated financial lives while using this ancient wisdom?
Sounds like we've got a lot to uncover. Join us for part 2, where we'll bridge the gap between these Babylonian ideas and our 21st century realities.
That's good.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon.
We've got those 7 cures for a lean purse.
Yeah.
But now, how do we use them in the real world?
Right. It's one thing to read about ancient Babylon.
Yeah.
But how do we take these ideas and apply them to, our modern financial lives?
It's almost like...
trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Right. Ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
Meets, the 21st century.
Yeah.
Take that whole pay yourself first thing.
Yeah.
10% of your income. In ancient Babylon, maybe that was easy.
Right.
But now, student loans, rent is sky high.
Yeah.
Wages are
It's
stagnant.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that 10% even realistic? Yeah. It's tough. And the book doesn't really say anything about, student loan payments.
Right.
But that 10% is really just a guideline, not a rule. The main point is to make saving a priority.
So even if it's just $5 a week, it's about making it a habit.
Exactly. Think of it like building a muscle.
Okay.
You wouldn't start lifting 300 pounds right away. You'd
Right.
start small and gradually work your way up. Saving is the same.
Okay, that's actually pretty encouraging. It feels a lot more attainable.
It is, and you can always automate it.
Oh, right.
Set up those automatic transfers
Yeah.
to your savings or investment account.
Right after payday. So the money's saved before you can even spend it.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind.
I like it. It's like you're paying your future self first.
Precisely. And that ties in with controlling expenditures.
Which is another big one from the book.
Yes. And our mommy blogger, Tramilla, she really appreciated that the book wasn't just about hoarding money,
Oh, okay.
but about living a full life.
Right. So it's not about being
Right.
a total penny pincher.
No, it's about spending your money on things that you value.
So maybe instead of cutting out lattes completely,
Yeah.
it's about making your own coffee at home some days.
Yeah,
And then really enjoying that special latte when you do go out.
exactly. It's about balance.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about making your money work for you. We talked about making your gold multiply
Yeah.
through investing.
Right.
But that whole world feels like a maze. That H Money we reviewed talked about how millennials need a back-to-basics approach.
Yeah.
But where do you even begin if you're a total beginner?
Well, the I Will Teach You to Be Rich website suggests starting with low-cost index funds.
Okay, remind me what those are again.
They're basically a basket of different stocks that represent a certain part of the market
Yeah.
instead of trying to pick individual stocks.
Which sounds really hard
Yeah.
and risky.
You're investing in a diversified portfolio that basically tracks the market.
So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And since they're passively managed,
Okay.
the fees are usually much lower.
Okay. Lower fees are always good.
Right. So you're not paying a bunch of expensive analysts to pick stocks for you.
But even with index funds, there's still a ton of options.
Yeah.
How do you know which one to choose?
You definitely need to do your research.
Okay.
But in general, you should look for funds that track broad market indexes like the S&P 500.
Okay, so index funds, diversify, and then let compound interest do its thing.
That's the idea.
Okay, that actually sounds doable.
It is.
Maybe I'll even try it.
Yeah.
Now, the book talks about making your dwelling a profitable investment.
Right.
But the housing market right now,
Yeah, it's tough.
a nightmare. Yeah. Rising prices, not enough houses.
Flooding wars.
Yeah. And renting isn't cheap either.
No, it's not.
So how does that principle even work in today's world?
Well, the I Will Teach You to Be Rich website actually talks about this. They say renting versus buying is not always a simple choice.
Right.
It really depends on your situation.
Okay.
They say you should crunch the numbers and consider all the costs of home ownership, not just the mortgage.
So what's a good deal for one person?
Yeah,
Might be a bad deal for someone else.
exactly. They even talk about alternative approaches, like house hacking.
Right, right. That's where you rent out part of your house.
Yep.
So you're basically living in your investment.
That's the idea.
I like that. It's a clever way to make home ownership more affordable.
It is. And it shows how you can adapt those old principles to fit today's realities.
And even if you do own a home, you still need to manage your money well.
Absolutely.
Remember that couple from the I Will Teach You to Be Rich article, Alex and Courtney,
Yeah, the ones who are always fighting about money.
even though they had all those assets.
Yeah, and they had a house and everything. It just shows you that those core principles, saving, spending wisely, investing,
Yeah.
those are important no matter what.
Like those principles are the foundation
Yeah,
for a strong financial house,
right.
no matter what that house looks like. Speaking of foundations,
Yeah.
the book also talks about these 5 laws of gold.
Yes. Those are great principles for keeping and growing wealth.
So it's like a guide for making sure that your wealth lasts
Yeah,
and gets passed down.
exactly. For generations.
Okay.
It emphasizes saving consistently,
Mhm.
investing wisely,
Mhm.
protecting your assets,
Yeah.
and avoiding those risky get-rich-quick schemes.
Sounds like a recipe for turning those ancient Babylonian coins into a lasting legacy. But what about when life throws you a curveball? Like you lose your job or get sick or the economy tanks?
That's when having a strong financial base is really important.
Right, that emergency fund.
Exactly. Having that cushion
Mm.
can make all the difference.
It's like having a life raft
Yeah,
in case your ship starts to sink.
exactly. And that's where insurance comes in, too.
Right.
Making sure you have enough coverage for things like disability or health issues.
So you have a safety net
Yeah,
if you fall.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And even in those tough times, you can still work on increasing the ability to earn
Oh, yeah.
that 7th cure.
Yeah.
Keep learning new skills.
Yeah.
Be adaptable.
Right, so don't give up when things get rough.
Exactly. Be proactive.
Okay.
Find those opportunities.
So it's like having a financial Swiss Army knife. Always be prepared.
I'll like that.
But building wealth, planning for the future, it can feel like a long and slow process.
It can.
How do you stay motivated? Especially with all the messages we get about instant gratification and getting rich quick.
That's where having a clear vision for your future is really helpful.
Oh,
Ask yourself, like,
Yeah.
what are your financial goals? Why are they important to you?
yeah.
What kind of life do you want to create for yourself and your family?
So it's like having a financial destination in mind.
Exactly. When you have that clear vision,
Yeah.
those small steps you take every day,
Yeah.
they feel more meaningful.
Because you know they're leading you somewhere.
Exactly. Like those ancient Babylonians building their city brick by brick.
I like that analogy. And you should celebrate those milestones along the way.
Yes, definitely.
Like maybe give yourself a small reward when you reach a savings goal.
Yeah,
Or pay off a debt.
that's a great idea. It keeps you motivated.
And remember, the book talks about getting advice from people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, seek out guidance.
So like a financial advisor
It could be.
or someone who's good with money.
Yeah, a trusted friend, a family member.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Building wealth is a journey.
And sometimes it helps to have a guide.
Exactly. So as we move into the final part
Okay.
of our deep dive,
Mm.
let's think about how we can actually apply these principles.
Okay.
How can we personalize them to fit our own lives?
Let's take those Babylonian wisdoms
Yeah.
and turn them into like a blueprint for a better future.
That's a great way to put it.
Join us for the final part, where we'll explore those takeaways and figure out how to turn this knowledge into action. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the richest man in Babylon.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Going from ancient Babylon to today,
Hmm.
talking about those 7 cures for a lean purse,
Right.
those 5 laws of gold.
Yeah.
But now it's time to, bring it all together.
Right, because what good is a treasure map if you never actually go looking for the treasure?
Exactly.
This book is full of wisdom, but it's only valuable if it helps us take control of our finances.
So true. So let's think about some key takeaways.
Okay?
Remember that first cure. Start thy purse to fattening.
Oh, right. Start saving.
Could you maybe set aside even a little bit from each paycheck
Yeah.
and have it automatically transferred to a savings account?
It doesn't have to be a lot. Even just 10 or 20 bucks a week can add up over time.
And automating it takes the pressure off. You don't even have to think about it.
Right. It's like building a financial foundation one brick at a time.
Exactly. Now, what about those expenditures?
Oh, right. Needs versus wants.
Could you look at your budget and see where you could cut back a little?
Maybe pack my lunch a few days a week instead of
Yeah.
eating out. Or find a cheaper gym. Or even just, like, stop buying so much stuff on impulse.
Right. It's not about deprivation. It's about making smart choices.
Yeah. Choices that align with your goals.
Exactly. You're the CEO of your own finances.
I like that. And those small choices can make a big difference in the long run.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk investing. Those index funds we discussed. Could you maybe look into those as a way to get started?
Yeah, they seem like a good option, especially for beginners. They're a way to diversify without having to become like a stock market expert.
Exactly. And the sooner you start investing, the better. Compound interest is powerful.
The earlier you plant that seed, the bigger the tree will grow.
I like that analogy.
And for those who are already investing,
Yeah.
or maybe dealing with inherited wealth,
Those 5 laws of gold are really helpful.
they really emphasize thinking long-term, being responsible with your money.
It's not about getting rich quick. It's about building lasting wealth.
And remember, the book talks about getting advice from experts.
Yes. Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's a financial advisor or a trusted friend or family member who's good with money.
Yeah, sometimes you need a guide on this journey.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Richest Man in Babylon, I want to leave you with this. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about having the resources to live a meaningful and fulfilling life.
It's about having the freedom to do what you love,
Yeah.
to support the people you care about.
Make a difference in the world.
Exactly. So what does wealth really mean to you? And how can you use this Babylonian wisdom to create that wealth? Not just in your bank account, but in your life.
That's the real question.
The journey to financial well-being starts with a single step. Pick up The Richest Man in Babylon. Read it, think about it, and most importantly, take action.
Turn those old ideas into habits.
And watch your life change one step at a time.
That's it for this deep dive. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.